step in the process of realization, of self-realization. All that entails is in the process of self-realization. What that truly means. It's in the process itself. The moment we like, yeah, I got it, we good, I understand now. It's like, there's more. The more you observe and absorb. Observe and absorb. There's a big difference in the intellectual comprehension of what's being said versus the embodiment. Number two, second thing that you realize is everything is your creation. Everything is your creation. That's the second thing that you realize. Now, many souls, to be honest, it's after spending so many generations in division, most of us will be in this space, prior or after recognizing our essence as a source energy being. You can tell anybody, yeah, you God. And it's like, oh, word, okay. And if we get it on a superficial level, we'll usually come to the fact that everything is our creation. And then we get into these my truth and your truth, like my reality and the way things are, or what my level of understanding is the gospel. So I have to point out what everybody else is doing wrong. Oh, that's not right. And it go like this. And no, that's not right. Yeah, but this is, and then we get all into this debate culture. And eventually, on this path, this sidestepping path of self-realization, we go through this quite a bit. Some people will spend a lot of time in this space. Eventually on this path, this sidestep path, we get lonely. The soul gets very lonely because over time, gradually, they realize that most people aren't willing to buy that. To buy into this right or wrong reality, and I know the truth and you don't, and this is how it is, and this is wrong, and so most people not rocking with you when you like that. So you'll have this sense of self-righteousness, and you're a avid pupil to that school of thought, if you will. And everybody ain't rocking with you like that. You're doing too much. And it's like, well, I'm trying to preach the word and tell everybody and be spiritual and blah, blah, blah. And you just end up tripping over yourself. And that all kind of leads to step number 3. Step number 3 is you realize that you have to do the work. There's work to do. This knowing, and we create and we have the ability to manifest our reality and so on and so forth. There's a little more, it's a little more complex than us just kind of dreaming up stuff and doing vision boards and the law of attraction and, some of that tutelage. The higher mind ideas that we receive in attempting to reverse engineer the lack and limitation in our lives. Many souls get on this spiritual trip because it's like, well, I want to be good. I want to be a good guy, but I want to be rich and, help people and so on and so forth. And no judgment whatsoever. However, this is a space or a phase in our journey. And this realizing that we have to do the work phase, it's not easy at all. It involves releasing the things that no longer serve us. One of the main themes of this phase is releasing. belief systems, ideas, and debating and feeling as if we have it all. And it's like, no, there's so much to learn. There's so much to observe and release, unlearn, like let go of. More of an unlearning than it is learning. It's necessary to get rid of all this, all the fake data in order to be receptive to the real data. You got to get rid of all this stuff. You got to clean house first before you can do renovation. You got to get all the old furniture out the house. You can't keep all the stuff in there. It all got to go first when you decide you want to move. All the mental activity, all that identifying with this voice in your head and waiting for your angels to speak to you in English and tell me what I should do and asking people what to do and so on and so on. All that stuff got to go. Victimization and identifying with your body and, well, you know, the black Jesus and the black angels gonna do this and my ancestors, and you gotta get rid of all that stuff. All that got to go. All that got to go. It's lengthy and arduous, this process, this internal work, this work that we got to do. This internal work, it's a long and arduous process. Most people spend the most time in this phase because it's purging. In actuality, many people give up at this phase. Many people give up and they take off the kufi and the gown and all that kind of stuff. They give up on the spiritual stuff because it's just too many layers. It's too hard. Like, I tried because of my people and all. It's like, yeah, this is the phase where you realize that you got to let all that stuff go. And it's hard. Because we've developed this reality and all these belief systems based on our current understanding, or at least the receptivity and gathering of all this information from people that we feel are validated or smarter than we are or older than we are or have access to information that's communicating to them, and we receive all these ideas and it's like, okay, cool, this is valid, and we kind of construct this reality for ourselves internally and feel that it's a stable ground to stand on. All that collected knowledge and information, there's nothing wrong with having it and recalling it, but it's all distorted. It's all distorted. So you really just got to clean it all off. It ain't no picking, and it's almost like it's almost like the Europeans over here when they smoke weed, they put tobacco in they trees when they roll up. It's been a couple times where I wanted to smoke and they was like, I smell. I put tobacco. I'm like, you just ruined it. I can't open up the J and pick all the weed out and get the tobacco. It don't work. And then the weed smell like and taste like tobacco. You can't do it. That's a crude analogy, but I'm going to go with it because it's funny. You can't do that. It's all distorted. Everything all mixed up, and there's certain things in there you can't. No, you can't smoke that no more. You got to get rid of it. You got to clean the slate and start fresh. All that clearing, right? And releasing. All that clearing and releasing of all those ideas and the mental constructs and blockages and misconceptions about the nature of infinite intelligence that we've collected via our hell plane experience, and all the people who've genuinely attempted to show us or introduce us to the unseen. It may be dogmatic information amongst religious collectives or pastors or shaman or whoever. In some, they mean well and have a wholesome intent in their sharing. It's just that we're limited. We're limited in our understanding of the unseen. All the pieces to the puzzle aren't there. All the books that are dusty and old and we feel are validated, that they were distorted too amongst their creation. So we got the big dusty book with all the information, and it sounds right, and it look old, and it feels like we can confirm it, and it's like, no, that was distorted too, bro. I know that it's old, right? And the pages are brown, right? Oh, the page is brown. It's old. It got to be true. No, brother. It's a deeper truth than that. And it's all inside. It's all in silence. It's all within that deeper truth. The point is, this third phase of realizing that there's work to do, it always comes back to one thing. Number one. It goes back to number one. Realizing that you are a source energy being. After you done released all the ideas about who came first and the original this and melanin and so on and so forth, like when you release all that stuff, it just comes back to that invisible fabric that we observe. That original fabric, invisible, all being you, the force, beyond the story, beyond the dialogue of the saga and who did this and who did that and who can claim this and own this and who was the first to such like, beyond all that, you come back to the fabric of existence, which is invisible, which is in truth you, beyond space and time, beyond Earth and its timelines. We ain't the newest things in town, even though millions and millions of years old. We ain't the newest thing in town. Life been here for eternity. In truth, the human construct and manifestation, this is an opportunity for us to meet a crescendo and integration of all the beings and civilizations and planets that have existed all throughout the multiverse in time. This is a crescendo to that, a much bigger story. But of course, there's all this deep-rooted stuff and programs of limitation, and we want to identify with powerful beings that look and feel and kind of have a shape and body like us, and it's like, yeah, well, that was the beginning, and it's like, that's similar to assuming that planet Earth is the only Earth, that it's the only life that exists. It's like, what are you talking about? That's crazy. What are you heal all ego stuff. Knowing and experiencing are two different levels of this. The first is knowing. The first one is knowing. That is a quote like knowing is the first. Experiencing that is the last. Number 4 is experiencing yourself as a source energy being. Once again, 2 different levels is knowing. Of course, you'll know at the first level to recognize that. But experiencing that and knowing it, that's the last level. Knowing, creating, and experiencing your creations as the creator in a physical vehicle. That is the last level. Knowing, creating, and experiencing yourself as the creator. This is the final level to self-realization. The full process of getting to that is where you recognize your power in being eternal, limitless, and infinite, beyond fear. Where all reflections of self are actually doing the exact same thing. Knowing, creating, and experiencing themselves. This is the final level of self-realization. It's one thing to know, but to participate and recognize that you're experiencing your own creations as the creator. The final level to self-realization. That's number 4. Reflect on those. Reflect on that cycle. Be very helpful for you. Very helpful.